Hello, you're very welcome to another session in our continued journey through VMware's hybrid cloud solutions. In this session, we're going to focus on Microsoft Azure and the specific VMware solutions associated with that cloud platform. I'm delighted to be joined by Microsoft's Amit Rana, who is going to walk us through some of those specifics and will talk to us in detail about the underlying architecture, about connecting to it, about consuming it, how you would engage with Microsoft to deliver an SDDC in their cloud, what the pricing looks like and what options are available to you as a customer. And we'll also get some insights from Amit as to why Microsoft's customers are engaging with them to deploy VMware-based solutions in their public cloud. Hi, Amit. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Could I ask you to start maybe by telling me a little bit about your role within Microsoft?
Yeah, of course. So I work in Microsoft's global black belt organization. It's essentially a team of specialists. We go fairly deep, but the team I work within is the advanced migration team, and we typically work with our sales specialists around the Azure VMware Solutions. So lots of data center migration opportunities, essentially trying to get customers who have hard and fast dates out of those DCs. So here to support them. AVS is a managed service, right? It's a Microsoft first-party solution. So by that, what I mean is we've built it, we sell it, support it, and so on. It's done hand in hand with the folks over at VMware, but fundamentally just another Microsoft SKU, right? Just as you would consume any IaaS or PaaS service, this is just another one of those. And it allows customers to run their VMware workloads within an Azure environment. But that Azure environment, that VMware environment, is sat next to all of our other IaaS and PaaS services. So it allows organizations to quickly move workloads in, but then integrate with our native services as well. You don't need to acquire any additional licenses on the on-prem VMware side. We provide you with everything that you need.
And I understand VMware's strategy and why VMware is engaging with public cloud partners to deploy their software solution on the public cloud. But why do you think Microsoft saw a value in this partnership with VMware, and what value is that bringing to Microsoft's customer base?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I guess, so over the years of organizations looking to move to the cloud, they all would have faced one challenge, right? So it's, I guess taking a step back, when you're looking to move to the cloud, moving one app, two apps, fairly easy. When you start to look at moving a complete data center, it gets fairly tricky quite quickly, right? Especially with organizations that have been built over 10, 20 years. Integration, runbooks disappear, all of the stuff, all of the things that you expect to be there aren't, right? People don't know how these applications couple together. Enterprise architects have left the business. So moving a large number of workloads becomes quite difficult. And there's two ways to tackle it, right? You either throw lots of resource at it, which becomes quite expensive, or you look at something like a VMware solution. And the reason why we looked at this was it was a way to allow customers to quickly move into the cloud, right? There is no faster way to get into the cloud outside of using VMware's HCX technology, which is why we brought it to our portfolio. A lot of companies that I talk to at the moment are looking to move into AVS because of extended security updates, right? So for those of you that are not aware, Microsoft Server and SQL 2008, end of life, and for extended security updates, you've got to pay a premium for on-prem. Within Azure, those are completely free of charge. This is the other key benefit of AVS, right? It all comes down to licensing. There are a few pieces. So I kind of mentioned extended security updates. So firstly, those are free of charge within Azure. And then we have what we call our hybrid benefit. So if you have those licenses and you want to migrate into Azure, into AVS, you can dual run for a certain time. And not only can you dual run, you can then, with software assurance, use those licenses within AVS, so you're not having to invest anything further. You're able to bring your licenses across.
Could you talk me through what that looks like and how the SDDC all hangs together within Azure?
Of course. So I guess let's start on the left-hand side of this diagram. So where we're looking at the on-premise environment. Now, whether you've just got vSphere or you've got the full cloud foundation stack makes you eligible to use AVS. AVS here in the middle of the diagram. So AVS is a dedicated service, right? So by that what I mean is bare metal, dedicated to you. There's no multi-tenancy on there. And then on top of that bare metal, we run VMware's Cloud Foundation Stack. Not only do we run that stack, we include the licenses, right? So vSphere, vSAN, NSX, and the HCX appliance, all of those licenses are included. The reason why I emphasize on that point is because there's no license mobility from on-prem for that Cloud Foundation Stack. Now, wrapped around those licenses is a managed service, and by managed service what I mean is we'll stand you up a production ready cluster, we'll put it together with a default configuration which you're then able to connect into. On top of that Cloud Foundation stack, you then get access to the guest VMs, right? You can create guest VMs. You're not restricted to traditional Azure t-shirt sizes. You can create VMs for whatever size that you need and so on. So yeah, essentially you can run those VMs as you do on-prem. And in fact, you can run what you're running on-prem within AVS, right? So whether it's things like Windows 2000, 2003, Linux 4.5, these things that we traditionally wouldn't bring into native Azure. On the right side of the diagram, you see some of our native services. And this is where we start to talk about modernization. So AVS is a solution that's sat in the same data centers, sat next to all of our IaaS and PaaS services. So you're able to connect into your VNet, you're able to connect into all of these services and then start to have that hybrid piece that we discussed. In terms of the pricing model, AVS is the same as any other Azure service, right? You can do pay as you go, or you can do a 1 year or a 3 year reserved instance. Here you can have a mix, right? So because of the way AVS is built, it's, we've mentioned there's a 3-node minimum cluster. It doesn't make sense to switch this on and switch this off. You don't get the cost saving from there. So ROIs are typically what customers look at. And when you do want to grow, if you say, for example, have a busy month, if you're a retailer or whatever, you can grow your business, have that on pay as you go, have your base layer on an RI, and you can shrink back down. Again, going back to this being a Microsoft first-party solution, if you take an RI with us and say, for example, you've got a data center exit, you've got 20 AVS nodes that you need day one, but then you start to modernize, you can exchange those RIs for other services within Azure, right? You're not restricted just to an RI on AVS, which is, again, a big differentiator for us. First of all, what you can see here is the hardware and software stack, right? So on the left-hand side, there's the current software stack. This is something that Microsoft will keep evergreen, right? So we'll upgrade you. You don't have to worry about looking after that side of the stack. And then today there is one SKU. So what you see over on the right-hand side. When you're looking at this, one of the things that I would ask is don't size based on hardware, because you're now consuming VMware in the cloud. What we tend to do is look at RVTools output as a first pass to look at what is it that you actually need to use, rather than planning for, say, 4 or 5 years ahead. And then when we start to look at commercials, there are a couple of things to bear in mind. So first of all, we've already mentioned security updates. So any of those extended security workloads that you bring into Azure are free of charge within AVS. You get the hybrid benefit where you can dual run licenses and also run unlimited virtualization within AVS. And then the pricing model, there's 2 ways to consume. You either do pay as you go, or you do a reserved instance. And that reserved instance gives you up to a 50% discount if it's a 3-year RI. But like I said, the key thing with these reserved instances are they're fully flexible, right? You're able to exchange them for other services. You're not locked into AVS, and it allows you to then modernize as well. In terms of regions across EMEA today, we're live in North Europe, West Europe, and the UK. So in order to connect into this AVS SDDC, there is only one requirement, and that's that you run an express route. We can do POCs with over a VPN, and they'll happily work. But in order to do a production migration from on-prem into AVS, you need to have an express route. So HCX, that VMware appliance that I mentioned to you, that allows you to do a vMotion. Not only does it allow you to do a vMotion, it allows you to keep your same IP range. And that HCX link is bi-directional, right? So you can bring VMs in, but you can also take them back out again as well. So you're able to go back and forth depending on what your use case is and what you're planning to do.
Could you talk to me a little bit about security posture within AVS itself, or engaging with some of the other security services that Microsoft has available inside the native public cloud?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, security is obviously on top of mind for everybody, right? So, firstly, you can continue to use whatever tools that you use on-prem today, and you can bring those with you, or you can integrate with Azure native. So you can use Azure Security Center, especially, I guess, if you're already consuming services from Azure today, you're able to integrate with the Security Center. Azure Monitor as well, you're able to use that to monitor those resources. So everything that you're able to do within native, you're again able to do that within AVS as well. So really, I guess, high on that list of priorities, especially when organizations are considering moving production workloads, they're able to use those native services. But again, if you're using something on-prem today to secure your workloads, you're able to choose, right? Is what you're doing today on-prem the right thing to bring with you, or do you just integrate it with what you're already using within Azure? So best of both.
What are your customers using the platform for? So what are the primary use cases that they see for deploying their workloads within VMware on AVS?
So I think that there are a few reasons where we see customers using AVS today. The main one is when they have a hard and fast date, right? So come end of 21, 22, they've got to be out of that building. That's the biggest use case, right? When time is not on their side. But then the other biggies that we have are where they're running workloads that are just not supported within Azure. There are a few of these that have come up recently. So there are some legacy applications out there that you just can't modernize and need to run within a legacy model. So those tend to come over within AVS, and they have the rest of their workloads running within native Azure. And then another big one as well is VDI, right? So I have lots of organizations that have spiky VDI workloads, whether it's seasonal workers or whatever it may be. Both Citrix and Horizon are supported on AVS, and it's a way either to run a hybrid from on-prem, so where you just scale up when you need that bandwidth, or you move that full workload within AVS and run it there. So those are some of the hot topics today. And I guess the last one that's come to mind as well is DR. So where organizations have multiple data centers and quite costly data centers to be running at the same time, they start to look at DR, whether that's DR into AVS or having AVS as a primary and still sweating some of those assets on-prem and using those as a DR site. So they're the main use cases that we tend to see.
Perfect, Amit. Thank you very much for joining us today. That was really insightful and useful information around AVS. That's us. Thanks very much.
Thank you.